Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. So I am on my second week of classes and I've kind of nailed down how I want to navigate this semester and how I'm going to do things to get the best grades for me. So I have so many tips to share in this video to help you succeed this year and get the best grades you've ever gotten. So getting right into it, the first section is going to be kind of planning out things and planning out the tasks you have to do, planning out your studying, all of that stuff. So my very first tip is when you get your syllabus or when you get your exam dates and your due dates, write them all down in a planner. Get a planner. Do not try to memorize things or else you will forget. Just write it all out for the whole year, whole semester. So that way you just have it in there and you're prepared for when it comes around and when it comes time to study. And if you do struggle with doing things the last minute, then I recommend writing due dates for things maybe a day earlier or something so you could start a little earlier. So that way you're not starting like the day before something is due, just in case there's a chance you might not get it done in time. Now, I know this won't help for everyone because people will look at it and be like, oh, well, it's actually due this day, so why would I start it this day? But for some people, you may forget that you wrote it in a day earlier and start it earlier than you would have if you just wrote down the actual due date. Okay, my next tip is to schedule out when you're studying for your exam. So I'm gonna show you how I do this. Get out my iPad. So these are kind of all of my exams happening like within the next month-ish. So I recommend at the beginning of the semester writing out all of your exams kind of in order of like how they'll be, so that way you have the order of the exams. Don't separate it by class, just do all of them in one thing. And then under them I have the chapters or the lectures that are going to be in the exams, so I can look at it and check off, be like, okay, like I went through this one, that helps so much, just so you know like exactly what to study. But to take it a step further, I plan out my studying for the exam. So I'll show you with my exam coming up in a couple of weeks. So we have all of the lectures, and that I just took from the other like schedule, and then I have the days. So I kind of have that I'm gonna study one lecture. It's gonna take one day to study one lecture, and also on every day you want to review the lecture that you studied the day before, and then at the last day leave a day to review everything and review your topics that you struggle with the most. So once you write it all out, you can kind of count backwards the dates that you'll be studying for these things. And then you can add it into your planner. And that way, when you get to that week, you'll see already like, oh, I need to start studying. This helps a lot to like stay on task. That way you're not cramming one day. I really like this method, especially if I have multiple exams in the same week or even on the same day. I can plan out like, okay, I'm gonna study this day. So that way I'm not studying everything on the same day and it's not super stressful. Especially this semester, I do not have much time outside of class to do a lot of studying, so breaking it down like this will help tremendously. This method might not work for everyone, but it works for me. I love it. And maybe you don't need to like plan it all out like I did and then put it in your planner. Maybe you could just plan it from your planner, but I don't know, this just makes sense in my head when I have it all on one document. Okay, now for when you're doing tasks like on a day. So at the start of the day, before you start doing everything, just kind of write down everything that you need to do and then organize it from the hardest task to the easiest task. You want to start with the hardest, get that out of the way first. And then when you're done, like once you're kind of done studying and you're like sick of this, it's like, okay, the tasks are easy now, so it's fine. If a task looks like it's going to be very stressful, you can also break it down. So like I showed you, I break down my studying, but also just like if you have to read chapters, you can break the reading down. Breaking down tasks makes them so much less stressful. There's actually a website called Goblin Tools, and if you put in your task, it can actually like break it down for you and give you the broken down tasks. And this works for anything, like not just homework. If I have to clean my apartment, then I'll kind of like break down the task for that. So it's like, oh, if I'm cleaning my whole apartment, that's a big task, but breaking it down helps a lot. And then checking off the things as I go is fun and it makes me feel really productive. When you have your list of tasks, so after you kind of broke them down, then write down how long you think they will take you and kind of time block. So when you time block, just write down like, I'm gonna do this at this time, it's gonna take this many minutes. And then in between tasks, leave 15 minutes in case the task that you have actually took longer. And if it took shorter, then you can just move on to the next one a little bit faster, and maybe that one will take longer. So I always like to leave in 15 minutes on my calendar when I'm scheduling out when I'm gonna do each thing. Okay, the last tip for this section is find the best notes, like find the best note-taking strategy for you. Don't just go off of how other people take notes, because it might make sense in their brain, but it might not make sense in your brain. So I'm going to show you how I take notes. This is like the best way that I found for me, and this is the best way I can get the most information from my lectures. I'm going to do my ecology class as an example. So what I do is I actually put the lecture slides onto my iPad, onto my GoodNotes, and I take notes directly on the slides in class, so that way I'm not writing everything that's on the slides and everything extra that the professor is saying. So like this is kind of what that looks like. You can see my notes on the side. And then right after class, I will go into my notebook for the class, and I will kind of write everything down, kind of summarize everything, so that way I just have all my notes on one thing and I'm not scrolling through all these slides. So I will do that after class, and also reviewing notes after class helps remember it like a lot more. And then also from the notes that day, I will make flashcards. Making flashcards like the day of will also help you remember it more. And when it's time to study, you will not have to make flashcards. You can just go ahead and study them. So it helps me a lot when to just make flashcards after the lecture, like that day. Another thing that is really helpful for me when taking notes is color coding. So I have one color per exam. So as you can see, I have like orange on this one, and the next time there's an exam, I will have a different color, but I have definitions in that color, so it like sticks out. It's like, okay, these are the flashcards that I do need to make. And then I also highlight stuff in that same color. This method is the best method that I have found works for me. But again, it might not work for you, but if it does, that's great. Okay, the next section that I have is kind of staying on task while doing work and while studying. So the first tip is just remember that the hardest thing to do is start. If you are dreading a task, literally just remind yourself that you just have to start it. And once you start it, the flow, like you'll kind of flow with it, and then it'll be a lot easier or maybe a lot less stressful than you originally thought. But the idea of doing it could be really stressful. So just remind yourself that the hardest thing you're going to do is start the assignment, and then once it's done, it's done. Also, when you have your list of tasks that you need to do for that day, make sure you do not switch to another task. Like if you remember that, oh, I have to do it, just add it to your list and keep on doing that task. Because if you keep switching over and never finish one, then you're still going to have all these uncompleted things. But the more you complete, the more like confident you'll feel and the more productive you'll feel, because you're actually completing these tasks and you're not just like switching over, doing some of this, some of this. So just do it all at once. The next thing is the Pomodoro technique. If you don't know what this is, basically you study for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. This method is really helpful when I'm just not feeling it. I can't get into studying. And like if you do just say an hour of that, you'll still be a lot more productive. So that way you can tell yourself like, it's just 25 minutes and then I have a break. So that way you're not studying for an hour straight. I have this app called the Forest app, and I love that app because you can set a time and you can like grow a tree, and you cannot go on your phone. And if you go on that phone, then your tree will die. But if you do not go on your phone during that set time, then your tree will grow, and it's beautiful. Also, during the 5-minute breaks, I don't recommend just like scrolling on your phone, like going on TikTok, doom scrolling. Do things that are still like productive maybe, like maybe drink some water, like don't just doom scroll. Because if you do that, then like you'll get distracted over the 5 minutes. It's like, wait, I want to do this more than 5 minutes. Maybe you can get a snack or just something like that. Okay, the next thing that really helps me stay focused is white noise or brown noise. I listen to brown noise. I will also listen to brown noise in class, like during lecture, if I seem to like be zoning out and stuff. I don't know why it helps, but it does. It helps me to sleep. It helps me just like stay focused. So I recommend that, and it's so much better than music for me, because music, like you can get distracted with the words, but brown noise is just like There's no words or anything. It's like not even music. It's just like, it is what it is, just noise. Okay, the next thing, if you're studying during the day, sometimes sunlight helps. So like open your blinds. That will just like, I don't know why, but for me, opening my blinds just makes me feel more productive and makes me feel like I can get more done. Obviously, if you study at night, like you can't open your blinds, but you can turn on a light, or like if I study at night, I like to have like a little bit more dim lighting, not dark, but like I'll put my string lights on and maybe like just have that, or just like enough where I can see what I'm doing, but not like too bright. And then the last thing is to stay motivated. It's so nice to like romanticize studying and being like, oh, like I'm over here studying, you know. What helps a lot with this is making a vision board. So you can do that on Pinterest, or you can like print out stuff. And whenever you feel unmotivated, you can look at that vision board and be like, this is what I'm trying to do. This is how I'm trying to be. Okay, and the last section for this video is just study tips. So I already told you that after lectures on that same day, you want to review your notes and make flashcards. This will help you remember a lot better like what you learned in lecture, because sometimes in lecture you're focused on like getting down the information and maybe not retaining it. But that's why I like kind of rewrite it and summarize it that same day, because it helps a lot with like remembering what I learned that day. Another thing is to record lectures. If you have a professor that kind of goes really quickly and you couldn't get everything down, recording lectures and re-listening to them, even if they don't go quickly, just kind of re-listening to lectures helps a lot. Maybe like while you're cooking dinner, you could listen to that again, especially if it was a lecture with a topic that you struggle with more. Just re-listening to how the professor explained it could help a lot. So I recommend recording lectures if you are allowed. Okay, this next tip is really random, but it works. It's like a psychology hack. So if you put on a specific perfume while you're studying for an exam, and then you put on that same perfume when you're taking the test, that perfume, like when you smell it, it'll kind of help you remember like what you were studying, because it's like, oh, you're smelling this while studying, and then right before you take a test you put it on, it's like, oh, you're smelling that, and then it'll kind of help you like remember things. So that's just like a little psychology trick for you. I do it sometimes, I don't do it all the time, but I mean, I don't know, like I would say it works. Definitely makes sense how it works in my mind. Yeah, there's a little psychology hack. The next thing is writing out things when you're studying. So like written flashcards, or even making a study guide. I always make a study guide, like write it out, not type it, because writing things out helps you remember it so much better. Honestly, like for some exams, I'll just like write down a study guide, and then I'll kind of retain the information and I'll just really understand it. So I'll barely even have to study it, because writing it down just helps me so much. Okay, and then the last tip that I have is, if you have a struggle topic, watching YouTube videos that simplify it will really help. It really helps me. I watch them even if they're just like 5 minutes. It really helps explain things, like especially in biology classes I do that a lot, to kind of break down like how things work, because biology classes are more than, and chemistry classes, it's like you have to understand how things work and understand the information. It's not just memorization. So there's a lot of videos you can find on YouTube that explain things and break it down for you. Okay, that is all of the tips that I have in this video. I hope they help you get all A's, straight A's, and succeed this school year. And I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!